that's also one of the main reasons for this session. So what is big data? When we talk about big data, there are three things that come into play. The three V's, as they call it: volume, variety, and velocity. Volume, I guess, is a no-brainer, as the name suggests. Big data involves handling of large volume of data. And this is a relative term. 10 years ago, a gigabyte would have been considered as a large volume. And therefore, there is no real specific figure when it becomes big data as of now. But as of today, a thumb rule seems to be 1 terabyte of data. If anything in the range of 1 terabyte is usually considered as big data. The other factor is variety. Variety refers to primarily the unstructured part of data. So data, typically when we say, it is stored in tables in the form of rows and columns. But increasingly, there's a large amount of data nowadays which is no longer stored in rows and columns, but in the form of free text with the advent of social media. And you have voice files, you have video files. All of you are familiar with YouTube. So all this is a part of the variety of the data that is increasing every day. And according to one study, 80% of the new data that is being added is of unstructured type. So that is the variety part of big data. And the third component is velocity, which is basically the rate at which the information is increasing or changing. So this is the third component. So these are the three V's which are usually associated with big data. There are, of course, recently a couple of additional V's. People talk about veracity and so on, but I think these three are the key components of big data. Now, just to put things in a little bit of perspective, we all talk about the data increasing, but this slide somehow puts this a little bit in perspective. What happens in a minute over the internet? As you all are aware, internet is a major source of increase in data. So this slide basically gives a quick snapshot of what happens in a minute over the internet. A few examples you can see here. There are about 300 million emails, almost, or 204 million to be precise, that are sent across the internet. By the way, this slide is slightly dated, so that number might have increased. And there are several videos that are uploaded, millions of them probably, millions of photos uploaded and downloaded. So those are all unstructured data over the internet. And also, according to one study, the amount of videos that crosses the internet, it seems in 2015, the amount of videos that is exchanged in 1 second, mind you, not 1 minute, over the internet, it would take 5 years for one person to watch them. That is the amount of data that is being generated. So that is a staggering growth of information and data. And that is what all of us are trying to capture and make sense out of. What are the other sources of data? Some of them are traditional sources, like your ERP systems and other systems in an enterprise. Then you have commercial aircraft that generates 3 GB of flight sensor data in 1 hour. And a lot of this data is not even captured, stored, and analyzed because of lack of capability today. And that is where I think big data can play a big role. The other aspect is video data. Surveillance cameras are becoming increasingly common everywhere due to various concerns, security concerns, terrorism concerns, and so on and so forth. And this is, video files are really huge. So this is also contributing to a large amount of the data that is being generated. And then of course we have the mobile phones. So these service providers like Airtel, Vodafone, they generate a lot of data. So when you make a call, it is not just the information about who you're calling and how long that call is, but it is also about how that call has been traversing through which towers and so on and so forth. All that information needs to be stored in the form of what is known as CDR data. So that is again a huge contributor. So how are organizations using big data today?